So I'd like to call up to the Bima someone who was the very first person that I believe I met here in Western New York, which is outside of the community that had called me here, which was Evie Weinstein. Years ago, when I first arrived in 2008, I think it was the first day I got a call from her. She was the head of our Bureau of Jewish Education, and she needed me to teach classes at Hebrew High. I said, okay. And not only did she hand me exactly the class that I should teach, which was, she even gave me the whole entire curriculum. She made me feel so very welcomed here, and we have been friends since. She has a long connection and tradition at our synagogue, and she started here in her work in Jewish education, I believe, as well as at Lakeland Camp. She was working with Mark Horowitz in our preschool and larger school as well. She made her way to the top ranks of our Buffalo Jewish community at the BGE, and now has since retired but continues to do work in Musar. If you have an opportunity to take a class or to work with her, that is the study to develop, how do we qualify, what's the English word for Jewish? Midot, that's a Hebrew word. Jewish values. It's a way of studying and balance our values. And it's been wonderful to have her back here at Congregation Shir Shalom, where she belongs. And she will be making our holiday appeal. I'm going to have to lower everything. Small in height, but great in stature.
Thank you. Lashana Tova, and thank you, Todd. Oh. Thank you, Todd and Rabbi Alex, for giving me the honor to address our congregation on the most important and holy day of the Jewish year. Thank you. Jewish tradition distinguishes between two different kinds of generosity. The first that we are most familiar with is tzedakah, which is obligated giving. We give tzedakah in all kinds of ways. Our children bring tzedakah to religious school each week as an obligation. We often write checks to various charities without really thinking about it, except that knowing it's the right thing to do. The second, which is the focus for this appeal, is called Nevidut Halev, which literally means generosity of the heart in Hebrew. It is a generosity that does not come from a sense of obligation, but rather a movement of the soul that you cannot resist. Like each of our lives in the world around us, our beloved CSS community has seen many challenges in the past 2 years. We faced a rapidly changing environment as we approached High Holy Days, and our clergy, staff, and volunteers did a great job pivoting and providing meaningful holiday seasons, Shabbat services, as well as continuing programs, pastoral care, simchot, and religious education. Finally, we are now able to come together in person at regular intervals for services and holidays. We are excited about upcoming opportunities to gather, to learn, to worship, to sing, and to connect face to face, and soon even play pickleball. Shir Shalom is a place of calm, a sheltering space against the difficulties we all face in life. It is a place to renew our spirits, to collectively address injustice, to connect deeply with friends and family, to celebrate and to worship. Keeping our community strong allows us to strengthen and nourish ourselves and each other while repairing the world. For Barry and me, being members and volunteering at CSS is truly heartfelt. 29 years ago, our son Danny, who is sitting right here, became a bar mitzvah right here on this bima. In less than a year, Jamie and Danny's son, our beloved grandson Spencer, will also become a bar mitzvah right here on this bima. And in a few years, our dear, dear Graham will follow in his father's and brother's footsteps. Our son Ron was president of the Temple Beth Am youth group and is now a leader in his synagogue in Maryland. Our family has celebrated with friends, family, and fellow congregants and mourned deep losses as a community right here in this sanctuary. Our clergy provide the spiritual basis for living our Jewish lives with meaning and strength and song. We are given opportunities to grow and learn and reach the best we can be through Torah and Jewish values. And with the rise of anti-Semitism in the U.S. and around the world, our synagogue teaches our children and reminds us who we are and what we stand for, both in the Jewish and outside the Jewish community. All these opportunities are made possible by your ongoing, generous financial support. Shir Shalom needs all of our help to continue offering engaging and meaningful programs of all kinds, both remote and in person. Our annual giving campaign helps fill the gap between revenues from temple membership, donations, tuition, and various fees, and the actual cost of running the temple. Importantly, annual giving also helps offset unanticipated expenses. For example, investments in technology, security, and tech support in response to the pandemic, and allows us to maintain and initiate the high-quality programs and services that have been central to the tradition of our congregation. We are asking you as a congregation to give from the heart to our annual giving campaign. Please join Barry, me, and our family once again in supporting CSS, an investment in our congregation. Our goal is to have 100% participation with whatever you feel is appropriate for you. With your generous, heartfelt support, Congregation Shir Shalom will remain strong and viable for generations. I would now like to ask you if it is your custom to fold or tab the tabs on your annual giving cards, your blue ticket, unless you previously marked them in the amount you choose. Hand them to our ushers who will stand and circulate throughout the sanctuary. Hand them to our ushers and board members who will be walking in the aisles. You can also leave this morning by dropping them off in the annual giving box outside the sanctuary, or hand them over to an usher before leaving temple. The amount you choose to donate is so very important to the temple and your fellow congregants. I want to thank you in advance for listening and caring about what I shared with you this morning. And again, Lashana Tova to you and your family.